Hello everybody, welcome back to It's Current Year for another quick battle ladder replay on the Kolshan Plains map today. I'm playing the Dark Elves, I'm up against the Dawi, and this was played in the pretty early stages of the recent DLC. So I was putting together some, I guess, different ideas for lists with various things in mind based on the new the changes that we've seen in this game. So my opponent has decided to hide in the trees. So we've got a bit of a tree camper here, but Dwarf Warrior frontline, some long beards, also the Grumbling Guard. So a bit of a mix of great weapons and shields here. Pretty sturdy, pretty self-explanatory. Ekron's Miners behind them, 3 units of Rangers in behind them, and a couple of units of Slayers, one being the Dragonback, obviously with their speed debuff. There is also a grudge thrower out here and a master engineer. So the master engineer has taken the flash bomb as well as the replenishment of ammunition and the ballistics recalibration, so reload skill and accuracy. Leading the force is Thorek Ironbrow. So Thorek's coming with his obviously Locus of Power is very handy because, you know, taking damage from miscasts is pretty annoying. The Forge Fire ability, obviously with the slight armor debuff, usually you see that get cut, but I guess it can have its uses. But we've also got the Rune of Doom, I believe, somewhere. The Rune of Wrath and Ruin. The Rune of Doom here for his map wide little combat buff. Pretty handy. I don't think he pays a lot for it either, so pretty strong ability. Rune of Speed and Rune of Slowness. So pretty compact little force here. I think my opponent moves out of the forest fairly soon, but yeah, for my force, like I said, throwing together some ideas, so we'll sort of cover that. But in the back here we have 2 units of Dark Riders, also have another one out here in the distance, as you can see, and a fairly wide infantry line. So 2 units of Bleak Swords up the front, and then I believe 5 units of regular Corsairs. So you'll see why that makes sense. They're not bad in this matchup, good for flanking. They tank blasting charges, they kill Slayers quite well. Lack of armor piercing can hurt, but you know, they have some good applications just generally. Generally, you're not taking 5 of them. But Harpies, 2 units of regular Harpies, as well as the Crows of Cain. That's basically my Gyrocopter insurance in this build because there are no Dark Shards or anything like that to shoot back. I also have 2 units of Doomfire Warlocks, and this is what sort of the build, I guess, revolves around. Doomfire Warlocks with their Soul Blight and charges debuffing armor. The effect range with the AoE bug is really large at the moment. Now, generally, Doomfire Warlocks are pretty sort of average unit in general, and certainly into the Dawi, a very weak choice. But Soul Blight with the armor debuff may work in concert with the Blackheart Corsairs. They obviously can land a good number of hits with their anti-infantry bonus and just generally good combat stats. And if you can debuff the armor, that's a reasonably good weapon strength. So I sort of just wanted to try something. You can get probably a cast of, you get 2 charges each with the Doomfire Warlocks, and you can probably cover a large portion of the force with those Soul Blight effects. Knight Assassin on foot, he has come in with the Web of Shadows, I believe, and the Assassin's Trophy, really pretty cheap. Can put shots into things, good combatant, good little damage dealer, and then Malekith on foot with just Soul Stealer and the Gaze of Malice. I've also kept Spiteful Conjuration for the armor debuff there as well. So there's a lot of armor debuffing going on here in this force to try and make the Corsairs kind of hit as hard as they possibly can. So going to be moving up and around with my Harpies, trying to get a bit of an engagement. At this point, obviously, I can't see a lot, so I was a bit confused as to what my opponent had brought. Not so confused about where they had set up. That was somewhat obvious, but the Slayers are staying behind here, keeping them hidden. The infantry's marching out. The Rangers are starting to now fire some shots. I'm noticing that with the Crows of Cain and pulling them back. Although some attack orders maybe just being left on here, and the Corsairs are indeed going to jump up and maybe get onto those Rangers, but they are brought back. But Dark Rider's coming up into the woods, ready to make a move there. So bit of an overlapping combat here. The Ekron's Miners have started throwing their blasting charges, and here you can see Soul Blight going down, So down to 70 armor on the Longbeards, down to 55 armor on the Dwarf Warriors. You can see the damage there is stacking up reasonably nicely. The Corsairs obviously don't take a ton of damage back from regular Dwarf Warriors, but there is some AP in here. As my Dark Riders get a nice charge home into there, the crossbows will go quiet. The Doombolt goes down, just causing a bit of displacement, bit of damage. That Soulblight has worn off, but now we see over here, likewise, Bleak Swords, Doombolts, and stuff going down. There's a Gaze of Malice also going down there. Probably could have angled that a little bit better, but this is where the Doomfire Warlocks sort of start to not be great. They do magic attacks, so, you know, having their already low AP stats being debuffed further by the magic resistance is not great, as Malekith we see here takes a little bit of overcast damage from the Soul Stealer, but again, abusing the AoE bug somewhat. We see the Rangers out here taking the Soul Blight, the Dragonback Slayers here taking a Soul Blight, and the Harpies now doing a little bit of topical damage, but but have been pushed off, and my Dark Riders now are forced to sort of pull back and just try and bait out the Slayers. The Warriors here have been decimated by the Black Ark Corsairs, and things are sort of pretty chaotic, and I've got my Assassin out here just taking some pot shots away at the Master Engineer. You're going to see me send him in quite quickly, and I am sending Malekith in just to deal with Thorak Ironbrow. There is an Assassin's Trophy going down on him, so his stats were debuffed slightly. He doesn't have the greatest melee stats, he's just very tanky, but the Grumbling Guard really doing well to protect him, keep his vigor up. Likewise, just the regular Longbeards here, just sort of grinding away, and at the moment it's sort of not a particularly good fight for me, but we are getting some damage into Thorak at the very least. More Doomfire Warlocks lapping around. You can see that the Harpies here healing whilst in combat. Harpies actually will do, for the cost, some really good damage to Slayers. You know, their lack of AP isn't going to be an issue for them. They have actually really, really high weapon strength. 44 on the ROI. I think it's something like, I know, 44 as well. 44 on the regular Harpies. So with more Doombolts, more Soul Blights coming down, we see just a lot of stacked effects going down here. Rune of Doom is making these Longbeards pretty dangerous, but we're seeing the armor debuff in now is just helping me get a little bit of damage through with my Corsairs here fighting on quite bravely. Still got 50 here, 23. Even these Bleak Swords haven't taken a great deal of damage, and probably not the best use of Soul Stealer over here. I probably could have used that right where Malekith was, but Malekith is actually wavering and actually was really in need of that little health kick from the Soul Stealer. So Harpy's seeing off some fleeing troops, Doomfire Warlocks coming back in, and the Master Assassin has found his prey. He's just been admitted to combat now, and even with the accuracy and reload skill going down in combat, this Master Assassin is having a bit of a field day. 900 HP and going down reasonably steadily. Just trying to run Malekith away here at this stage, but Thorak's coming and hunting him quite nicely. He's going to sit in amongst the Ekron's Miners, who, you know, probably not going to land a ton of hits on him, but getting dangerously low, and the Harpies are having to come in and give the Witch King some help. So the Assassin needs to get rid of this Master Engineer pretty quick smart and get over there. Corsairs 49 and 21 and attacking the remnants of the Slayers. That's going to be a good matchup for them, because they'll, with their obviously anti-infantry bonus and just, again, lack of AP not hurting them in that context, it's going to be a good trade for them. And now Dark Riders brought back in once again, trying to screen from Malekith. We don't want to lose the Witch King. He's only had 2 casts of Soul Stealer. He might get another one. Not sure if he has another Gaze of Malice, but we're starting to look pretty thin on the ground. And Doomfire Warlocks bouncing around up here, just making sure things can't come back to the fight and shoot in. We've got some Dark Riders rallying over here, but if we take a bit more of an overarching look, there's not a lot to come back for my forces. Pretty much what you see here is what you get. But Malekith has recovered, is back in the fight. And the Khainite Assassin still has a lot of ammunition left and pretty healthy. As we see another Rune of Doom going down, and my infantry here is just completely worked off, you know. Corsairs here, pretty tattered. Again, Doomfire Warlocks with this Rune of Slowness and their magic attacks really not going to be faring them much good at all against Thorak with his 40% magic resistance, not to mention the lack of AP. So at the moment we're forced to sort of just pull back. We've got some Corsairs coming back here, but the Rune of Slowness is meaning that these Slayers are just nipping on my heels as I run, and you can see them exploding into Fairy Floss there, but it is giving me time at the very least just to get the Assassin firing away, getting whatever damage I can into Thorak before we try and take this final engagement. We have 6 Brave Harpies, and Brave Harpies is not usually the word that I would use to describe it, but at this point we need to fulfill attacking rules, and we need to commit. But Assassin's Trophy does go down, and like we said before, 21-26, pretty average stats on Malekith. I'm pretty sure there's no Soul Stealer still to come here, but I may be wrong, as we see whatever we can pull back into the fight. Dark Riders, Doomfire Warlocks, these Dark Riders have shattered. Again, the Assassin just sending his ammo away, and we're just trying to pull Malekith away to kind of just hold on to whatever balance of power we can. We see these unit of miners over here as a bit of a freebie, so we'll rotate over there as Mustering of Speed will go down, and basically even 29 Grumbling Guard, 5 Dragonback Slayers, 1 Slayer there, and I think a handful of Longbeards here. But look at that. Nice Soul Stealer to finish. Now, Malekith, I believe, did take the miscast damage, but he will heal back through it. I think he'll get up to about 1,000 HP here, maybe just shy of that, maybe about 900 or 800. But we have managed to break off basically and kill all the infantry we killed the 2 Slayers. And at this point, with Thorak so low, I'm feeling like I can probably squeak this out with my Dark Rider or my Doomfire Warlocks over here, making a beeline for these Rangers. Corsairs here, I don't think I've realised that they've come back yet. And the Assassin just coming in to try and deal whatever damage I can and try and basically just rout this unit off, because they are obviously giving their old grumblers passive in an AOE. So I want to try and get these guys off before they hook back up with the other ones. The Doomfire Warlocks here have brought the Rangers down to wavering, but again I just don't want to lose Malekith. I don't think I have any abilities left on cooldown, but I'm just basically trying to buy as much time as I can for the Khainite Assassin to squeak this out and use as much of his ammunition on Thorak as I can. 390 HP left, and I feel with him wavering and low and Assassin's Trophy now off cooldown, I can send Malekith in, get a nice little shot in the back there. Malekith is very low himself, but once Thorak does go down, I feel like this can probably be the day can be saved. The Warlocks here will charge back in. Longbeards, won't really care about that at the best of times, given the aforementioned lack of AP and the magic attacks. But now that the Assassin's out, he can basically just make sure that Thorak doesn't come back. We can do a bit of cycle charging with the Doomfire Warlocks and try not to get the Khainite Assassin here caught by the Grumbling Guard. But I was finding here that I was telling him obviously to chase Thorak, but as I chased, he would shoot the Grumbling Guard, and if I told him to shoot Thorak, he would stop. So it was a sort of annoying little byplay there. But Doomfire Warlocks have been shattered, but 15 Longbeards won't probably pose too much of a threat to Malekith, even in his tattered state. Thorak does shatter with the Assassin now just committed to combat, and we manage it to grind out a very, very Pyrrhic victory. Basically just the Witch King and the Assassin left. So, yeah, interesting idea to try and combine the Soul Blight effect with the Blackheart Corsairs. I wouldn't say it was spectacularly effective, because you still are paying a premium for the Doomfire Warlocks. I don't think the Lesser Doombolt does much here. The Packed Infantry does take a little bit of damage, but it is a lesser Doombolt. It's not like it's not as powerful as Marathi's one from our wand or anything like that. But this kind of idea is one that I was trying to sort of make work with the Dark Elves. They have a number of good ways to stack armor debuffs. This is probably one of the less effective ways of doing it. But I have been trying to sort of make it work in a few matchups with Marathi. She does get the law attribute from both death and dark magic. So when you take Soul Blood on Marathi, she can debuff armor by 45. It does maybe cost you a Soul Stealer or two, but if you can keep her healthy, then you can maybe get away with that. You can maybe afford a bit less healing, and in possibly a matchup like Dwarves, where damage spells obviously are less effective anyway due to magic resistance, possibly armor debuffing is a way to make, Black Art Corsairs, which are a little bit more competitively priced than something like an Executioner, or even Sisters of Slaughter can work in this matchup. Getting them to trade upwards a little bit better into the armor of the Dawi. So yeah, effective to a point. The assassin was a real baller in this match. I think with Web of Shadows and Assassin's Trophy, he only costs about $750. So he's not super expensive. Malekith on foot with just Soul Stealer and Gaze is pretty cheap as well. So he's got his value back. Nearly cost him. But yeah, as we take a look at the sort of, the proof, I guess, of how much this worked. Black Art Corsairs, 500, 400, 300, 400. So yeah, overall I'd say it's still an idea that needs a bit of workshopping. And yeah, the value on the Dark Riders just wasn't really what it needs to be to justify the using them in this way. Dark Riders did their job. Harpies did their job, and you kind of need something if you're going to play this sort of rush style to sort of see off gyros to some degree without any dark shards. But yeah, the Dwarven army, I mean, Thorek, great value. Master Engineer, okay value. Got a few charges of his ballistics calibration and restocking off. Probably would have got that smoke bomb off as well. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's the most meta Dawi list, but just sort of wanted to show this video as or this replay as more of just an idea, a bit of a spitball, and of an idea that I've been trying to make work, I guess, in a couple of different fashions. But yeah, this was a fun battle nonetheless. Very close battle. So thank you guys for checking it out, and until next time, take care.